Hey everybody, it's Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and in this video, actually, you are the star. I've got this idea that I want to share with you about my story. So here we go. All right, so the day before yesterday, I put out a video on begging, what to do when you're encountered with someone who is looking for a handout. And there were so many good comments that it gave me this idea. I wanted to make sure that a lot of these comments are just not going to get read, because the fact of the matter is there's so many of them that you're watching a video and sometimes you can scroll down and you'll read a couple, but you never really get into some of the meat and potatoes of the comments. And so I wanted to make sure that those comments have new life, in that this is the plan. During the week, I'm going to start saving up some of the comments that I feel like make a really great point or have a great story or just stick out in my mind, and we're gonna do kind of a highlight thing. We're gonna call it My Story. And so the idea is that I'll find the comments that stick out throughout the week and share them with you, because I feel like a lot of those really great stories are not getting seen, not getting heard, and should be shared. So for today, I only have the one video to pick from, but I do still have some comments here that I think are well worth our time, and hopefully they'll be a blessing to you, because that's the idea, guys. So let's spread some good stuff around there, and hopefully we can all be better for it. So here's a comment. By the way, I'm not gonna put the people's names up there. If you're really that interested to find out who they are, you can go back to the video and watch it. But just to recap, this is, we were discussing panhandling and what to do when you're encountered with someone who is begging. And so here's a comment that I thought was really, really good. And it says, while trying to teach my daughter about Jesus on an outing one day, a homeless man approached me on one side of the car while I was still waiting for the light to change. My daughter ended up flagging the man to her side of the car as I rolled up my window in fear. She gave him the entire lunch I just bought her and even apologized for having eaten some apples and fries already. When we arrived at home, I ran to my room, weeping and falling to my knees. I learned a lot that day about so many things, and I can only boast of God's goodness and mercy upon me. With the right heart, we can help many in need, but we never stop learning from the Master of all. That's awesome. Not too long ago in my area, a young man by the name of Cody Gollahue was killed in a tragic car accident. He had touched people all over the tri-state area by his random acts of kindness. After his death, people started doing things for others in his name, leaving messages like, "You have been #racked." His mother started a Facebook page, Random Acts of Cody Kindness. It's a thing, and it's going like wildfire. One of my former pastors used to have a church right off I-80 in Nebraska. They used to get people stopping by all the time, and many were repeat customers like you described. He devised a way to sort out those who genuinely needed help and those who weren't. They took an unused office and set it up with drop cloths, cans of paint, and paintbrushes. Then when someone came to ask for money, he took them there and said he'd be happy to help if the person would help the church out by painting that room. If the person was sincerely in need, they started rolling up their sleeves. The pastor would stop them and give them some money. Most of them, though, got all angry about it and stalked off, receiving nothing from the church. I think 2 Thessalonians 3:10 is a good rule to go by. Of course, if someone is unable to work because of their physical state, it's a different matter. But I think we hurt ourselves by handing people money and expecting them to fix their problem. Usually, if people are at the point to need money, there's an underlying issue that needs to be addressed. Sometimes it's their fault, and other times it's just a bunch of bad luck. But giving people money and then thinking we've done our good deed for the day doesn't deal with the root of the problem. I'd like to see churches and Christians go deeper in how they help people. I'd like to see programs that help people on a long-term basis instead of handing them money and that's it. Jesus often looked past what people thought were their immediate needs, and he drilled right to the core of the problem. Excellent point. One really cold winter day, I drove up to a corner where an Army vet was holding a sign saying he had no home or shelter and no food. My daughter, who was 18 at the time, asked me to pull into the parking lot, so I did. She went inside the store and bought 2 warm blankets, a thermos, and filled it with coffee, and a cooler and filled it with food and brought it out to him and stayed and talked with him for almost an hour. That man was so grateful for just her company alone and tried to share his blanket, food, and coffee with us. He hugged her so many times, and as we left, some not very nice person said to us, "You know those beggars dress up in fake uniforms and scam people. I don't know why you encourage them." My daughter looked at this person and said, "God is in my heart, and he spoke to me. He said that man needed me, and I heeded his call. Remember the words that you just said to me the next time you find yourself sitting in church." I was so proud of her. She cried the entire way home and whole night and insisted that we check on the man the next day, but he was gone. She was like a small child that day and night because she couldn't understand why people were just so mean and why such a nice man had to be homeless. Sometimes we are needed when we are least expected. Living life with grace is a much better way to live than being selfish and full of anger and hate. I agree. Now, what's your story? You know, in the coming days and weeks, we'll be putting out videos and I'm going to find comments that just stick out and we're going to share them with you. And hopefully this will be the kind of thing that will bring more good into the world and less selfishness, anger, and hate. So feel free to share your story. We'll be watching, I'll be reading, and I'll grab ones that stick out to me. And well, doggone it, let's all do our best to make this world a little bit better. So I'm Brad with the Big Family Homestead. You have an amazing day.